Hey y'all, I'm back. All right, so let's get into this Essence article. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may have not. So um, let's all just get into it together. Essence just wrote an article, opinion. There's nothing entertaining about Mia Thornton's Real Housewives of Potomac storyline. The article was written by Victoria, and I don't want to say her last name wrong, Uwumarogie, updated January the 6th. Again, this is from Essence. Mia is right not to stay in a toxic relationship, but between ever changing stories, moving her boyfriend in immediately with her kids, and those Instagram posts, could she go about things any worse? When Mia Thornton joined Real Housewives of Potomac during season 6, I enjoyed her quirks. I liked that she owned things that other people would hide or side eye, from her plastic surgery to some outside of the box happenings in her marriage. She seemed fun. As she drew criticism from cast member Wendy Osefa, then, I remember being impressed that she seemed relatively unbothered, smiling through tense moments and genuinely appearing just happy to have a peach. Wait, that's Atlanta. I think it's a glass of wine in Potomac. But you know what I'm referring to. Whatever symbol signifies that you're a main cast member and that you've arrived. I do believe it is a flute. Watching her in season 9, though, has been difficult, as her marriage to Gordon Thornton has, at least on the show, seemingly gone kaput, and she's publicly moved on with a man from her not so far past named Ink, aka Incognito, moving him in with her kids while living in the same apartment complex with her estranged husband. It's been a train wreck. And while she's spoken about how hard everything has been, not knowing where her kids were in last night's episode and feeling overwhelmed by the complexity of her situation, she's behaved as someone feeling quite the opposite. Every week, she gives some odd update on her situation to her cast members, sometimes without being asked, running down her situation as if she's informing everyone of the latest from a Netflix series. Guess what you missed, child? These updates would often run counter to what she shares on social media, as her eager boyfriend and soon to be ex husband, who has been open about his bipolar 1 diagnosis, would toast and seemingly be on good terms in pictures and videos, only for Gordon to decide he wasn't with the bull as soon as the flash went off, or so she claims. Because that's the thing. We know that Mia tells tales. So is it, in fact, as soon as the camera goes off, he's a different person? We also heard Gordon talk about him not wanting to film all of this. We'll see. And while Mia has the right not to stay in a toxic relationship, marriage with 2 kids or not, could she go about things any worse? Listen, if my husband left me for a woman he had an affair with and allegedly impregnated, and she had got rid of the baby and then moved that same heifer, but then she has it crossed out, woman into a home with my children almost full time, I'd cut up too. They were all filming together until Gordon expressed that he couldn't do it any longer. And the new boo even wanted a DNA test for their oldest son. That things remained as peaceful as they've been is a miracle under the circumstances. But when you look at that, I'm sorry, Gordon also continued to be a constant in her life, which she claimed she wasn't happy about because she wanted to continue to care for him. With her I love yous and conversations outside of the kids will be at your place at X time boundaries. Even her BFF, Jacqueline Blake, said it felt like she was giving him false hope. But when you look at that, while the season is still playing out, Mia in real time has announced her split from Ink, and amid that shared a photo with a much happier Gordon, both smiling and posing close. Please take us out of the group chat. So she's referring to, the author is referring to the post that Mia posted on New Year's that says, New Year, new beginnings. Cheers to living life to the fullest. Hashtag mom and dad. Hashtag NYE 2025. And that is a roller coaster of trying to follow a storyline about Mia Thornton. She spent the majority of her time painting Gordon as a controlling, scorned ex. One she's only keeping around for her kids and not just to have the same control he seeks. And now she's cheering on a new year and new beginnings with him by her side. Side note, I believe Mia posted that picture on purpose again because she knew folks on social media, blogs, YouTubers, podcasts were going to run with the narrative that they were together. I'm going to bring it up again. They did it with her cancer post when she talked about she received a phone call from the cancer center at Johns Hopkins. She never said she had cancer. She said she received a phone call from Johns Hopkins Cancer Center to come in for testing. People immediately posted Mia Thornton has cancer. She never said that. But guess what? It got the conversation going. I believe with this same post, she never said, I'm back with Gordon. She didn't say that. She said, cheers to new beginnings. New beginnings could be we're co-parenting differently. We're co-parenting better than we did before. It could be all of that. But again, people ran with, oh, they're back together. That doesn't mean it. Mia is doing stunts and shows, and Gordon is right there along with her. I believe he's in on it as well, um, for her. But let's get into it. Where did I leave off? Okay, here she goes. Okay, and now she's cheering on a new year and new beginnings with him by her side. Perhaps she only wanted to move on from her marriage if she could be with Ink and realize the grass wasn't greener over there. Maybe she just needed some time away from Gordon to miss a somewhat good thing. Or perhaps it's just a picture and they're celebrating healthy co parenting. As usual, one can never tell. And see, that's what I was thinking. She's clearly doing it on purpose. One reality that I think about from episode to episode is how complicated all of this has to be for the kids and not just her own. It's one thing to put on for the cameras and confuse your cast members and hell, viewers, about who you're with and what's going on. But watching her parade ink around her youngest kids, Jeremiah and Juju, she has a teenager in Atlanta, FYI, including a son that the man believed was his, was icky. When her daughter said in front of her father that Mia couldn't marry Ink, not only was it awkward, it was sad. While she was trying to move on fast, everyone around her was still trying to cope and get clarity. And let us not forget that to sidestep the fact that she says one thing to the ladies and displays something completely different to the world. And that's what I was talking about when she tried to say that Giselle does that. Mia does the exact same thing. Mia insulted co-star Giselle Bryant's daughters, claiming the TV personality tries to paint them in a positive light while they were allegedly sneaking boys into, this says, a hotel room when they were teenagers. No, it was their home because she caught them on the ring cam. She says she caught them trying to sneak in a boy on the ring cam. What did that have to do with anything? And it doesn't change the fact that Giselle was right. She would say Ink would step back so she could focus on her family, but then post pictures with him the next minute, nowhere near back. Now, I will say this. They do have a right to ask her questions. If you are bringing me in and coming to me saying Ink is taking a step back, he's not going to be there for, he's not going to be there. Basically, he's going to try to let me figure things out. And then we see these posts with him. I would ask too, girl, didn't you just tell me? I'm not judging you. I'm asking you. Now, wait, girl, we just talked last week. What is going on? Because I would ask my friend that, girl, what's going on? Y'all back? Is it just a picture? You don't want to talk about it, but I am going to ask you. When tasked with apologizing publicly for what she implied about the girls, also publicly, Mia feigned that she had too much going on to do so, only to share later she said sorry in private. When co-star and friend, at least during the season, Ashley Darby, told her she should take full accountability for the comments because kids should be off limits, Mia took it as an attack because she's the only one suffering, remember? But therein lies the problem with Mia. She may very well go through hell with Gordon and sometimes with the ladies too. I'm not in agreement with Giselle. And then she puts in parentheses, I'm not in agreement with Giselle and Karen Huger calling her out about a very real issue in front of everyone in the first episode. If you care about her kids, call her. Still, she struggles to take responsibility for the role she plays in her mess. If you're going to preach about being authentic, be able to say, I probably could have done things differently, publicly and privately, is part of that, as well as modifying how you do things based on those missteps. But she keeps us in the group chat, and my teeth remain clenched in the shame of it all. I know Mia is inspiring some women who believe there's something women in the male field, because you know that trend, women in the male field, about her behavior, treating men, and that means treating men the way they treat women. Still, nothing is entertaining about the impact all of this will have on her children. When they grow up and realize Ink wasn't just a friend who was often around, recall the chaos of their father's situation, hear the conversation about DNA tests, and realize they saw things they shouldn't have, like when Juju, Gordon claims at the end of season 8, told him she found Mia and Ink in bed together at one point. There are a lot of questions that are going to need answers. If there's anyone to be concerned about from a compassion standpoint, it's them. Mia was first entertaining because she was open. Nowadays, she's a little too forthcoming about the wrong things and not necessarily honest in her retelling. And that's it for me. If we're supposed to follow the reality and see it, no matter how ugly some viewers think it is, or complicated some viewers think it is, or not for TV some viewers think of it is. If we're following the reality, follow it. But it's when Mia herself doesn't share what her real reality is and just paints this picture of what's supposed to be reality and we can see through it. For me, that's when it's irritating. Again, delusion and lying are two totally different things to me. Perhaps the woman who first introduced herself as an open book with nothing to hide is still being just that. But this particular story is one I'm no longer interested in reading. I'll say this. I don't believe Mia is being open and honest. I believe what we're seeing is Mia's desperation to continue to have a flute, to continue to stay on the show. That's what I believe we're seeing. And I believe that some of what she's saying could be the truth sprinkled in with lies. So when you tell a lie or embellish but sprinkle in a little bit of the truth, it sounds more believable. Or if someone calls you out on it, you go back to the truth part of what you said, not the rest of it. Right? And you try to stick onto that. What do y'all think about the article? Do y'all think that this could be the nail in Mia's Real Housewives of Potomac coffin? I have said, I think that Giselle and all of these interviews she's been doing, because she hasn't been doing interviews like that for a couple of years. Now it was interview after interview after interview for a while, talking about Mia. And then you had Wendy doing a couple interviews talking about Mia, Angela Yee's podcast, and she was somewhere on the red carpet. And then we had Ashley saying Mia did something that she don't know if they could come back from. I feel like it's all leading up to Mia not having a flute. And I think Giselle's doing her work behind the scenes. This article is not going to help. When I think about the article that Essence wrote about Potomac and colorism, it's not just shade, it's colorism, a deep dive into colorism on the Real Housewives franchise. That article was written, updated May 31st of 2023. I do believe that's why Wendy kept her job. I do. I feel like they might have wanted to get rid of Wendy. And I feel like when this article came out, they decided, I mean, if we get rid of her, how would that look? Right? They brought on Jazzy, her name Jazzy, hard time. Yeah, I think the article had a lot to do with it, because a part of me is like, is Bravo going to really care? Because I'm going to be honest with my thoughts with y'all. This is a Black publication. I grew up on Essence. I know a lot of y'all Black viewers watching. Y'all grew up on Essence. So do I think there's a part of me that thinks Bravo isn't going to take this article seriously about Mia because it's from a Black publication. It's not People, and the author they use to write articles for People from Bravo. It's not Time. It's not any of that, the HuffPost, even though I know they have Black writers, but I'm just saying Essence is a Black magazine. So there's a part of me that thinks they won't even care. But then again, there is the part of me that thinks they are looking at the response to it. This is a Black cast, and this major Black publication is writing about it and not in a good light. So Wendy gets to keep her job when it comes to the colorism piece. And I think Mia might lose her job when it comes to this conversation. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Mia come out with one of those notes apps about her struggle and her life and tie it all into how she grew up and how she says she grew up, and try to put a spin on it like Basically, I'm the victim, I'm the victim, I'm the victim. What y'all think? Do y'all think that um I would say people, but it's Essence that wrote the article. Do y'all think that Essence is being a bit biased or selective in what they're upset about? And because of who it is? Because I will say they did write about the colorism last season. So, you know, I don't know. Again, for me, if I believed for a second that Mia thought that Jeremiah's was Inks, and if I believed everything she's saying about Gordon, if I believed half of it, and again, it's not up for me to believe, right? But because we've seen Mia's track record, we know we can't trust what she says. Again, just this recent episode, which my recap for Potomac will be out tomorrow. It's already recorded and ready to go on YouTube. You'll be able to get it on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. Mia said on Carlos King's podcast, Ink didn't play about her. So her, Jacqueline, and Ink never did anything. Ink never did anything with Jacqueline. That's what she said. But they have taken a shower together. Only for her to be on the show. Mind you, this season had already wrapped. We just hadn't seen the episode yet. When at the time she did the Carlos King interview. Only for on the show for us to see this week, her say she believes there was some foreplay between Jacqueline and Ink. So that's what I mean. You can't, but then she admits they all took a shower together. So you sprinkle in a lie with the truth. It sounds believable. So if I thought that what Mia was saying was happening, even if I felt like, well, maybe that's not something I would share, I'm not on reality TV either. So I may would have to respect it and be like, girl, you putting it out there. You're sharing your reality. Good, bad, ugly. Like Mary from Salt Lake City said, tell me your truth. I don't care if it's ugly. Just don't lie to me. And I feel like that with Mia. But I feel like you trying to play in my face to keep this check. And that's when I get like, man, I don't want to hear nothing else because I don't believe you. And I don't like watching housewives having to decipher if you're lying. Again, it's one thing to be delusional. Karen calling herself the Grand Dame. Well, Giselle gave her that name. But then Karen adopting it was, I mean, kind of smart for her brand or whatever. But we could say that's operating in delusion, even though Karen lies about things too from the very beginning. But outside of the lies, her being the Grand Dame, no one sits in the center when it's my birthday. That could be delusional. I'm not trying to figure out if she's lying about somebody sitting in the center in a booth on her birthday, right? But when we're talking about actual lies, it's like, and it's tied to her storyline. Y'all. It's like another season of Potomac that it's not dark. Some funny moments. Still not old Potomac. These women get in these shows, I feel like, and after a couple of seasons, when them checks start coming, they want to keep the checks coming. They want to stay a part of the franchise, so they're going to do whatever they have to do. I wish they would just do it with authenticity. Then you got people like Carlos King who pump Mia's head up. Mia's the future of Potomac. I mm, I don't know. Again, for me, it's watching somebody and trying to figure out every time she opens her mouth in these scenes, girl, is she lying? Or that's not what she said just recently. That is not what she. Mia, Mama Mia, Mia Amor. I think because of Giselle's what seems like involvement of trying to get you off the show, her saying in interviews you're dead to her. And now this Essence article might not be looking good for you, Mia, next season. Might not be looking good. I want to know what y'all think. Do y'all think Essence is being um partial or selective when it comes to Mia and different storylines? Again, they did write about the colorism last season. I don't know. And it's also based on the writer, but then again, the writer did say it's an opinion piece. So it doesn't have to be necessarily all like fact one, fact two, fact three. It's based on her opinion, based on what she's saying and how she feels about what she's saying. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Victoria, you want to come on the podcast and we can discuss it further? If you see this, I might be in your inbox. Hey. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think, how y'all feel about Mia. Do y'all think Mia is carrying the season? And if you think she is that a good thing? We just read an article a couple days ago that Collider wrote that said basically they think Potomac is in its flop era. What do y'all think? I want to know. I'll talk to y'all later. See ya.